For those who are on YouTube, welcome. I am the Ninja Nick 333. As always, today we're going to be going over my Inteleon Urshifu Rapid Strike deck that I did play at NAIC. This does have a one-card change since then. If you want to look through the deck list, this is what it is here. The only change that I made was I cut the second Drapion for the third Iono. I was not finding Iono enough in the Lost Box matchups. I was still winning and tying them. I never lost to them. I did actually lose to one recently at Locals at a League Challenge because they choice belted their Drapion and one-shot my Urshifu, which I was not expecting. So I kind of played into that by not expecting the choice belt in Lost Box. Haven't seen one of those in like a year. Choice belt in there. But this is how it is. I really like the differences between my list and Cyrus's. I was the second highest placing Rapid Strike deck at NAIC from what I have been told by my friend Anthony Bruno, the guy who got top 8 at the Puerto Rico SBE. Shout out to him. He said I was the second highest placing, so after Cyrus. My list and Cyrus's list are a lot different. I'm not playing the Cheryl. I'm playing, instead of the Energy Search, I'm playing the 7th basic water energy. I really like having the extra water energy. I think that it's more usable than an Energy Search because an Energy Search just gets you an energy that's in the deck. With 7 energy, you're more likely to hit more double gunners over the course of the game with that additional energy. Sometimes I do want a second Karina's Focus. That's just in here to search from the Octillery, but I'll go through the card by card here. We have the 3-3 Inteleon VMAX line. GMAX Spiral, 70 plus 70 if you return an energy attached to this to your hand, so usually the Rapid Strike energy. And the Double Gunner, once per turn you can discard a water, do 2 damage counters to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. We also have Luminion, just for the Luminous Sign. You never Aqua return, but in a pinch you could potentially do it with 3 single water energies. Just to search a supporter, usually something like a Research or whatnot. We have 2 Remoraid to evolve into 2 Octillery. Rapid Strike Search. Once during your turn, you can look for a Rapid Strike card, put it in your hand. This is super important. Sometimes your opponents will just boss up an Octillery or Lost Mine an Octillery just to remove it from the game, even if it puts them to odd prize cards, just because this is so important for your consistency every turn. We also have Radiant Alakazam with the Painful Spoons. I call this my Radiant Spoon Man. Once per turn, he can scoop up to 2 damage counters because he has up to 2 spoons in his hand from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another. So you can turn a Double Gunner from 2 to 2 different Pokemon to 1 to 4. 4 to 1 Pokemon, sorry. You also have Medicham in here for Yoga Loop. You can take an additional turn if you knock out your opponent with the 2 damage counters from Yoga Loop. You can take an additional turn in time. So if you are turn 0 in time, use Medicham to knock out your opponent's Pokemon. You also take turn 1, which is very important. I did manage to do that at NAIC. We also have the Urshifu, the 2-2 line of that. Gale Thrust does 150 when it is promoted during that turn. It does not work if you promote the Urshifu, then evolve it. Very important to remember that. And then Gmax Rapid Flow, 120 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Had a very heated rulings discussion with the man, the jerk, the legend Will Post himself. Lot of attitude on that guy. You discard the energy after you do the damage, even though the card says otherwise. So remember that it does not go through Duraludon, even though the card says otherwise. Drapion is good in the mirror because you can Wild Style them, but it's mostly for Mew to take an easy 3 prize cards for the end of the game. I was playing 2 originally because I thought this had a really bad Mew matchup. But during my second Mew VMAX matchup of the tournament, they managed to weave in their 1 prizers in such a way where the second Drapion never really mattered, and I also started Drapion during that match, which actually came back to bite me, because I was only able to take a single prize knockout with the Drapion in that situation. So having 1 less makes it so you're less likely to start it. And during the Fusion Strike Energy build matchup, you just play normally until you go down to 3 prizes, then you pull the Drapion out and win the game. 4 VIP pass to set up, 2 energy retrieval to recycle your water energies, escape rope because it's escape rope, it's busted. Escape rope was definitely the tech inclusion for this deck. I don't always see everybody playing escape rope, but sometimes you start Radiant Alakazam or it's bossed up and you don't really have a way to move a 2 retreat cost non-rapid strike Pokemon. So escape rope's really good for that. And also it's really good for the Gale Thrust plays as well. Sometimes turn 1, your opponent has 1 Arceus on the bench. You escape rope, you Gale Thrust their Arceus for 300 and basically win the game turn 1 or turn 2. So then we have the regular ball search cards. You've got a Heavy Ball, 2 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, just to get your dudes going. I really like the Heavy Ball in here. It's very good, especially if you prize the Drapion, if you prize the Medicham. There's just so many different things that you could potentially prize that it's pretty good. Tower of Waters gives you free retreat on your Rapid Strike Pokemon. It's 2 less, but they're all 2 or less retreat. Most of the time when you're using Octillery, you will be searching the Tower of Waters, especially in matchups that play a lot of stadium cards. Like Mew, if they put Lost City or Path to Peak in play, you need your Tower of Waters. You're retreating a lot of different turns. Iono at 3. 2 Irida. Turn 2, you can Luminion for this. Get a water Pokemon and a battle VIP pass is pretty good. Sometimes you use this to get energy retrieval. You use it to set up your Octillery and grab another Rapid Strike card. So in some situations, Irida can effectively get you your Rapid Strike energy in that way. 1 Clara, you can recycle your Drapion potentially. As long as they don't Lost Zone it. Plus, also, you can get 2 energy back like that, so that's pretty good. The Karina's Focus, in case you just have, like, a small hand and are bricking, you can use the Octillery to grab the Karina's Focus. If using Octillery, if you need, like, more than just 1 specific Rapid Strike card in your hand during a turn, you grab the Karina's Focus and hope to just draw into both of them. 2 Melanie is really good to help you chain together G-Max Rapid Flows with the Urshifu, because it grabs a water from your discard, puts it on your Urshifu, then you just use your Rapid Strike Search to grab the Rapid Strike energy and just G-Max Rapid Flow a second time. 3 Research, just because sometimes you need to aggressively dig. Then we've got 2 Force Seal, because it's Force Seal. 4 Rapid Strike Energy, because it's double, basically a double energy for all your Rapid Strike Pokemon. It provides 2 energy, but they are only water and fighting colored. So as you can see in the picture, each energy provides both a water, it's a double water fighting energy. So it works for the Urshifu for its 2 fightings, it works for the Inteleon for its 1 water, etc. Doesn't work on Luminion, doesn't work on Radiant Alakazam. You cannot even attempt to attach it to them because it says so. And then the 7 water energy, as I already explained. Let us set this back to active now that we're not playing the weird decks anymore. I was playing some bad decks, some decks that YouTube comments have been asking for deck lists of, so I did build some deck lists for those. So if you did not see those have been my last few uploads here on YouTube. Check those out. And if you're here joining me for the Twitch stream right now, hello, how are you doing? We had a lot at the start. We petered off a little bit. But I still love my workers. I will not shout you out by name. But I still appreciate that you are here. So we're going to start with a Remoraid. Not too bad of a start, especially since I have the Tower of Waters here. My opponent mulligans. They're playing Lost Tina, judging by that hand. We'll draw a card for the mulligan. They have some interesting sleeves. Those are Gracidia sleeves. Which makes sense. They're flower selecting. Alright, so we are going first. We do have the Forest Sealstone as well as multiple supporters in hand. So this is actually really good. We're going to Nest Ball here for a... We're going to go... So we want to go heavier Inteleon with 1 Urshifu in this particular matchup. Some matchups, like against Gardevoir, you just try never to go Urshifu until your Yoga Loop turn. So we're going to grab Inteleon. We're going to grab second Remoraid in case they Cramorant me. And then we are going to Forest Seal our V Pokemon and use the Star Alchemy to search out the VIP pass. We will grab a second Inteleon as well as an Urshifu. Unfortunately, don't have an energy to attach this turn. It would be really great to attach an energy to Urshifu here, but it looks like we might have to just rely on a Melanie later in the game. But getting a turn 1 attached to Urshifu, whether it be a regular water energy or a Rapid Strike energy, is really good because you're one energy attachment away from being able to use Rapid Flow. So my opponent is going to be really fishing to try to find their Manaphy this turn, but since I did miss the attachment on the Urshifu, I would have to get a water in the discard as well as a Melanie in order to set up the Urshifu. So not super likely I'm going to be able to get that this turn, so it should buy my opponent a turn to find the Manaphy. Manaphy is really good against this deck in that it stops the Gmax Rapid Flow from hitting 2 bench Pokemon, but on the other side of that, 2 Inteleon can just use double gunner, put 40 on it. You can use the Radiant Alakazam to move a damage counter to it, and then Yoga Loop it and do that all in one turn potentially. So we'll have to see if my opponent is able to piece that together. They were able to get a Chorus's Experiment off with a Battle VIP pass. I think the Giratina version of Lost Box is probably the worst Lost Box matchup, maybe after Kyogre. But every other version of Lost Box should be just straight auto win. I did face one during NAIC that was playing a Reversal Energy as well as the Luxray. That's the stage 2 that you can put down if you're losing. And I still managed to beat that. I did tie it because I did misplay during my second game. I should have Yoga Looped a Sableye, but I Yoga Looped a Manaphy instead. And I wasn't using Gmax Rapid Flow, so I should have prioritized the Sableye that had the energy on it. And I just lost to it because I was stupid. Because sometimes I just punt games like that. So we see the Jet Energy is forcing this Comfey active, so we can use a second Flower selecting this turn. And a Path to the Peak is perfectly fine because I have 2 Tower of Waters in hand. So, of course, now the next card is the Energy. So, for this turn, what I'm going to do is... See, I'm looking for 2 cards at the same time, really. I'm looking for the Octillery... Well, I'm looking for like Inteleon VMAX plus Rapid Strike Energy. Now I can grab Octillery and Ultra Ball here. I can Ultra Ball away the Water Energy and the other Irida, I suppose, would be fine. So that gets me there. So I'm going to put the Octillery down. We're going to use Rapid Strike Search. Grab ourselves a Rapid Strike Energy. We will Ultra Ball away the basic water as well as the Irida. We'll be able to play Karina's Focus next turn, potentially. We will grab the Inteleon VMAX. We will evolve. We will attach for turn. We will play the Tower of Waters. And we will retreat into Inteleon VMAX. How many are in their Lost Zone here? They have 4. There is a likelihood that they can attack on this next turn, so I will be returning the Water Energy to my hand, I think. Since I don't play Cheryl, I do want to be very careful with where damage goes to my Pokemon. Sometimes I will leave the Rapid Strike Energy attached to my Inteleon if I want to get a second attack off with that, plus a free attach for turn to, say, the Urshifu, especially if I'm behind like I am right now. But unfortunately, I think I prefer preserving the Rapid Strike Energy and potentially retreating my Inteleon this turn. If they get a Lost Impact off or a Moonlight Shuriken onto this Inteleon, I will want to retreat it. If they Moonlight Shuriken to the active Inteleon and the Urshifu, that's the worst case scenario for me. If they lost Impact, it's still not great, but at least I can get a G-Max Rapid Flow off on this next turn and potentially knock out the Greninja as well as the Comfey, or just set up damage onto the Giratina V-Star, which will most likely be even better. But we see an Abyss Seeking here, so it actually would have been better to keep the Rapid Strike energy on my active, but did not know that my opponent was going to brick with a now 12 card hand. So you'll love to see it. So I can actually retreat into the Urshifu and hit for 150 this turn. Again, utilizing the sheer power of the Urshifu. So I think I will do that because that does allow me to have an energy on it, and then I can attach for turn the next turn and be able to rapid flow. So I just need them to whiff the I need them to whiff the Manaphy one more turn, if that's at all possible. So I'm gonna, for some reason, try to evolve the Remoraid into Inteleon VMAX. We will, do I want to put the Inteleon down? I think I do. I think I prefer the third Inteleon here with the way my hand looks currently. And then we will Rapid Strike Search. We'll just grab another Rapid Strike energy for next turn. We will retreat into here, and we will Gale Thrust. So if we don't get like a water energy top deck next turn, I could attach the Rapid Strike energy to the active. If I top deck Melanie, that would be even better, because then I can attach for turn to, say, the Inteleon VMAX and Melanie to my active Urshifu. So they will have 160 HP remaining if they do evolve, which is pretty annoying, but again, that is why I'm prioritizing getting multiple Inteleon VMAXs into play right now. They do need to get 10 in the Lost Zone this turn in order to still have a pretty decent chance against me. Because if they are able to use their V-Star power, they can just knock out the Urshifu entirely, and then I can't Rapid Flow on this next turn. So they just need one more energy on their Giratina, a switch card, and the evolution. And I think with an 11 card hand, they are likely to hit that. A little unfortunate that I had to Karina's Focus this last turn instead of play Iono instead. If I could have Iono'd my opponent, that definitely would have been the way I would have preferred to go about it. That is why I did up the Iono count to 3. This deck may have a extremely favored matchup against Lost Box, but there is still the potential that you can lose. And again, if you guys are joining me on YouTube, we do stream to twitch.tv/TheNinjaNick333. Have been pretty sporadic about it recently, but within the past like year or so, but I am trying to get back into it. I know I always say that. Here is the Manaphy here. That's pretty annoying, but if they use the V-Star power this turn, I actually don't mind it. Plus, if I just Iono myself into multiple water energies, I have the path to go triple double gunner. So that would not be too bad. It will put me one turn behind on being able to Rapid Flow, because I don't have the bench space to be able to put the Radiant Alakazam down, but getting the third Inteleon snipe is just as good. Plus, I had to get the second Remoraid in case I got Cramorant'd. In hindsight, it would have been better to, instead of getting the second Remoraid, to get the Alakazam, but there's no way to know that you're not. It still was the correct play to get the Remoraid just in case I got Cramorant'd. So they have 13 cards in hand. I'm surprised they don't have it at this point. My lord. They're at 10 cards in the Lost Zone even. Okay, so it looks like they're going to go for a Sableye this turn. So the smartest choice from them to do will be to knock out my Octillery and then put the 1 damage counter. It doesn't really matter where it goes. Looks like they are going to Escape Rope, so I am going to choose to... I'm going to put the Remoraid active, because I have the Tower of Waters in hand, if they knock out the Remoraid with the this forces them to not be able to use Giratina this turn. So if they had like Mirage Gate, they could potentially go Giratina V-Star and like knock out one of my multi-prizers. So putting the Remoraid up here is a lot better. But this does allow him to Lost Mine around the Remoraid. But I have the Tower of Waters in case he replaces the Stadium, or I could just retreat. I can also Ultra Ball away the Battle VIP Pass and potentially whatever I top deck in order to get the second Octillery, should that still be left in my deck. So they're going to evolve. The damage glitches for a second. They're at 160 remaining, so they're still within Rapid Strike. They're still within Gmax Rapid Flow range, potentially. So we see the Lost Vacuum gets rid of my tool, as well as they replace the Stadium with Path to the Peak. Yeah, so now I can't discard the Tower of Waters with the Ultra Ball. I have to discard whatever my top deck is. Unless I just top deck the Octillery, in which case then I don't have to play the Ultra Ball and I can just save it, put it back to the bottom with the Iono. So it's really going to depend on what the top deck is, if I can afford getting rid of that or not. So they are correctly going for the Octillery. That's definitely what you want to be getting rid of here in this situation. I'm at 5 prize cards remaining. So they take the knockout here. If I'm able to triple Double Gunner, I can Yoga Loop and then Gmax Rapid Flow and win the game. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'd be 1 turn away. Oh, and we draw the Medicham. Okay. So here what I'm going to do is actually, this makes things a little bit different. I'm going to bench the Medicham. I'm going to attach the Rapid Strike Energy to the Medicham. I'm going to play the Tower of Waters. And then Iono. So their hand got a lot smaller. So we're going to have to see what we get off of this. We do get 2 water energies. So we are able to use both our Double Gunners, even though only one of them is lighting up at the moment. We did not find our Octillery, though, which is a little bit annoying. So we are going to Bop Bop. And then we are going to do it again. We are going to Bop Bop. And now I think we just attack with the Urshifu, because we'll be able to knock out the Sableye. This is not what I want to do, because this puts it within range of being able to just get lost Star Requiemed. So I don't want to be attacking with this here. I took the risk attaching to the Medicham. I could have done the safer play and just attached to the Inteleon VMAX instead, but I wanted to be that little bit extra aggressive. So if they don't knock out my Urshifu here, I can win next turn, because I will be able to Gmax, well, not necessarily next turn. I'll be able to take 2 turns in a row. I just need to be able to use 1 more Double Gunner to put 2 more damage counters on the Manaphy. I can Yoga Loop it, then Gmax Rapid Flow the Comfey and Giratina to win the game. If they Star Requiem, that knocks out my Urshifu. I can still potentially go for the Yoga Loop play, but it will force me to find another Urshifu V this turn. We are down 3 basic water energies, so even we have multiple different ways that we can top deck. We do have 2 energy retrievals as well as a Clara. The Clara would actually probably be the best here, because if we do get one shot, the Urshifu goes down, I can use the Clara to bring back the Urshifu, attach the Rapid Strike energy to that, use the Inteleon to discard the water energy, finish off the Manaphy with the Yoga Loop, and then re-evolve into the Urshifu VMAX that I also pulled off of my discard pile with the Clara, and then attach for turn again, Gmax Rapid Flow. Or I could get the Octillery instead of the Urshifu VMAX, relying on the second Urshifu VMAX to be in my deck still. It would be nice to find a way to make sure that that is truly the case. They are using an escape rope. I am going to, again, put up my Remoraid. Because if they're going to attack with the Greninja, they're probably going to knock out the Remoraid anyway. And if they don't, it's only a 1 retreat cost. I could always just top deck a Water Energy. So this might be the game. I can attach Rapid Strike Energy to the Urshifu this turn, promote Medicham, and then research and just try to find a Water Energy or a way to recycle Water Energies, being the double energy retrieval, and I win. So they're going to put damage to the Medicham. I don't agree with that. I think that you definitely go for the damage on the Urshifu. But either way, we are going to promote Medicham. Draw a Battle VIP Pass. That's fine. I'm going to touch Rapid Strike Energy here. We're going to research. We've used our V-Star power already. So we actually... No, we still have it because we have Radiant Alakazam. I can actually move 40 damage from this Giratina to that Manaphy. Or just 10 damage, actually. It does take Giratina out of Rapid Flow range, but I can find a Water Energy on the next turn. So we're going to evolve here. We're going to Radiant Alakazam. This can still work. This is not the ideal way to go about it, but we could still do it here. So we Painful Spoons. We're going to... And my opponent concedes. All right. Yeah, so we were going to Painful Spoons 1 damage counter from the Giratina to the Medicham. Or to the Manaphy. Use the Medicham to Yoga Loop. And then on the next turn... just find 1 Water Energy as well as Gmax Rapid Flow, and we would win the game. So off of our 1 prize card and our draw for turn, hopefully we would have gotten that Water Energy, and that is exactly how the deck performs. So if you have a Lost Box problem at your locals, I highly recommend playing Rapid Strike. It is a fantastic deck. So if you are watching on YouTube, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It is all important to that YouTube algorithm. And we will see you guys next time with more Pokemon's action.